What is up, you all? So today we're going to be reviewing the new horror slasher, Clown in a Cornfield. Before we get started, definitely smash the like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So let me give you guys the rundown and synopsis of Clown in a Cornfield, being that looking for a fresh start, Quinn and her father moved to the quiet town of Kettle Springs. They soon learned the fractured community has fallen on hard times after losing a treasure factory to a fire. As the locals bicker amongst themselves and tension boils over, a sinister grinning clown emerges from the cornfields to cleanse the town of its burdens, one bloody victim at a time. This movie is directed by ILIKESCARY, and to get into this, starting off spoiler free, this movie right here it feels like those ordinary just original slasher films like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Bloody Valentine. It just has that, just slasher feel to it. I went in this movie actually just thinking that it was going to just be, a regular slasher, but we find out that it also has that comedic angle to it, just kind of like Hard Eyes and the slasher films we've been getting lately through this year that have been having like that comedic aspect to it, or just that comedy in horror movies. But this one, I will say, does that the best. It balances the best. And one thing I will say, I actually did enjoy Clown in a Cornfield. Now, I have never read the book, so this movie is a book adaptation, but I really like the final girl being Quinn. I really enjoyed her performance, and along with the other teenagers, this movie is definitely, that same blueprint from slashers, being that you're going to get that snobby jock, you're going to get that prom queen type of female, the group of teenagers that are hard-headed and they're in high school in this little town and things just go, to shit. Now, pushing forward with this, I will say I did like the cinematography of this, like just the color grade. This is actually a very beautiful movie. I feel like it was a good story told, about this like local town where, they got this urban legend named Friendo the Clown, and basically he comes back to the town and people ends up, getting unalived, and now they got to figure out who is Friendo the Clown and everything. So Quinn, the reason I liked her character, because she was just like this teenager or adult teen that comes to this town, tries to make friends or whatever, and she gets involved with a friend group, and then she learns more about this incident with this factory. She learns more about this clown named Friendo, and she starts to get interested in it because she's like, okay, like this is weird. I never heard about anything like this before. And the town is very old and quiet, a lot of weird energy with the adults and just the whole atmosphere. And this town actually has like a tradition where they celebrate this urban legend, and they're big on like corn and cornfields, and this factory called the Bay Pen Corn Syrup Factory, they're like big on that, and they're having like traditions and things like that whole time. It's a lot of other stuff going on. I love, the score that they decided to rock out with. I love the look of Friendo the Clown, very simple and straightforward. And one thing I will say, I did not expect a lot of gore and blood, but this movie actually has a lot of gore and blood, and the kills are executed in a way that, I don't know, it kind of it's a complaint almost, because I like the kills, but I feel like certain kills, they didn't go through right. It wasn't executed to a point where it should have been. It was almost like they didn't want to go through with it and show it on screen, if that makes sense. But when you did get those kills, some of them, they were brutal. And I like that Friendo the Clown, as you see in the trailer. I'm pretty sure you guys saw the trailer. He has, different weaponry. He's a clown of many tricks and turns with this character. And I will say it's a twist in this film that I was not expecting. I really was not expecting this, actually, because I'm like, wow, it threw me off. But it's a good twist because you don't see it coming. Once again, this is like a Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's like, okay, who's the clown? This is not like something I would compare it to like Terrifier. I see people comparing it to Terrifier. It's more of just like that, like who done it type of thing. It's more of Scream than anything. But like I said, good one-liners. When we did get comedy, it really just it it made a mark, and it kind of had me laughing in the theater. I'm like, okay, am I laughing at this? And so they did good dialogue, and they had good storytelling with this, and they had a great way of getting you invested and interested in these characters. At least about 3 of them, because it's like, okay, I knew in the theater, like, okay, if something happens to this character, I'm gonna feel some type of way because I was invested in them. But yeah, it takes a lot of risk and bold moves, and I think what makes this movie the most is just like the teenagers, for real. I think just being invested in them, and this movie focuses on like generations. We even get a time point where we get a time jump back to the 90s, and it kind of transitions back to modern day, just showing how generations and everything are operating and how long this urban legend has been going on. So they did a great job at showing us the 90s with the color grade and making you feel like you're in the 90s, even down to the music. And like I said, it did a great job at making this town, Kettle Springs, feel empty and cold and dark. And we got some times where we get like fall leaves on the ground. It just is a good slasher, I think. It's one of those slasher movies that I think you should go see with your friends and just understand that it could be silly from certain angles. It could be comedic, but not too much. It does take itself serious through the story, but it also gives us moments where we can lighten up and giggle and kind of laugh and everything. But I will say the first half of the film is more just kind of just getting you prepared for everything, kind of introduce you to everything so you can feel, like you've been here before and understand the story. Meanwhile, the second half is just like crazy, and everything's kicking up. It's more exciting. I feel like it do have like a slow burn when it kind of kicks up, but the slow burn is worth it because it kind of just lets you know what this story is about to be. And so once we do get to that point in the second half, you understand everything with Friendo, the teens and the adults, and just the whole town of Kettle Springs. So it's just like that simple slasher movie. It has some good kills. It has a nice slasher. It has like, a good costume, good vibes, good weaponry. Scenes are great. Emotional attachment is good. Cinematography, gore is great. Blood is great. Everything, the score, and like I said, final girl is on point, and I did like the slasher. I think it was very cool. So yeah, man, that's pretty much, it is with Clown in a Cornfield. I'm glad I got to see it. Right now, it's sitting at 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I definitely think you should check it out if you like slashers and like, whodunit type of horror films like Scream and everything. Check this out. So if you haven't seen this movie, head out and then come back once you see it, bust a U-turn so you can hear just a little bit of these spoilers. I'm only gonna be covering a little spoilers. So to get into it, I want to say this. You all, with Clown in the Cornfield, I legit thought it was going to be just a one clown type of thing. I haven't, read the book or anything, but it really threw me off with the twist being that the whole time it was like the teacher, the parents and everything that was the clown. I'm not gonna lie, that actually threw me off. That's a great twist. Basically, they were just upset with the generations and everything, and it was Cole's dad who was the leader, and he was the one behind everything with all the stuff that was going on. And how I liked how basically at first the teenagers trying to make it like Friendo was alive, and they were kind of just recording these videos, putting it on YouTube, but then it ended up branching off into real life where they actually are living in a real horror movie. And once I seen like 8 clowns come out with chainsaws, rifles, crossbows, metal bats, I'm like, okay, this is weird. But once I started seeing like the body shapes, I kind of assumed that it was gonna be that sheriff dude because he was weird. And once he took Cole, I'm like, okay. And he only arrested Cole, and then he didn't arrest Quinn and the others. I'm like, yeah. But it was a cool twist. It was something that I didn't see. It felt a little fresh for me, and I liked it. I liked how it played out. I will say at the end, I didn't get that feeling that it was like some fulfillment there or a conclusion. I feel like it was some stuff left to still be said. Kind of felt a little rushed, but overall, I did enjoy it. Clown in the Cornfield was solid for me. It was just one of them slashers you can pick up and watch when you in the slasher mood. So yeah, you all. With that being said, if I had to rate this, I'll give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think that's fair. 7.5 out of 10, man. And yeah, guys, if you haven't, go to the theaters and check out Clown in the Cornfield. With that being said, this is the end of this video. I want y'all to hit me up on all my social medias at ILIKESCARY and watch some horror movies. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace.